And I had another one that's called TSO Greensboro LP, which is 20 PTC 0488.
From Guilford, not today. Let's see.
Steve, do you want to
I
mention
do.
that?
Mr. Chairman,
Okay.
I can speak to that actually.
Okay, go ahead.
The two issues actually. The TSO Greensboro LP limited partnership. Of course, there's two things with that. It was scheduled because that it was identified by staff as a business entity that had not filed Form AV 63. The form actually came in today, but then in reviewing that, I noticed that it's a limited partnership. A limited partnership is not required to file Form AV 63. So that would have been off because they filed the AV 63, but it also should never have been on actually because it's not necessary for a limited partnership. The same is true actually. I see Ms. Lewis on. The same is true for the Edgecombe County case as well. That is also a limited partnership. It was scheduled because no AV 63 was filed, but again, that form is not required for a limited partnership. So those items that are still shown as active on the agenda can be marked as inactive.
All right, I see the Edgecombe County. That's the Tarboro Square Limited.
Yes, the rest of that should be limited partnership.
So that's all, nothing today. And then the other motion was the one that the Sweeney case, that was the other one then. It's not on today, right?
That's right. That was resolved already. But
Okay.
below that is TSO Greensboro Limited Partnership.
Oh, I see. I did not pick up that there were two of those. Okay.
Yes.
I didn't catch that there were two of those when I saw that withdrawn motion. I thought that was the only one. Okay.
Right.
So, but the Sweeney case, the motion was drawn, the TSO shouldn't have been on, so nothing from Guilford. Is that correct, Mr. Pelfrey?
Yes, that's
We can
correct.
excuse you, Matt.
Thank you kindly.
Yes.
You all have a great day. Appreciate it.
All right. Okay,
I'm going to log off.
that'll be fine.
Thank you.
All right, are we live yet, Alexandra? Recording?
Yes, sir, we sure are.
All right. Well, why don't we go ahead and we'll start again, and so, let me welcome everybody. I won't reintroduce the commissioners. Everybody, I think, can see them. But I will read what we're required to review before every session. In accordance with the State Government Ethics Act, it's the duty of every commission member to avoid both conflicts of interest and appearances of conflict. Does any commission member have any known conflict or interest or appearance of conflict with respect to any matters coming before the commission today? All right. If so, please identify the conflict or appearance of conflict and refrain from any undue participation in a particular matter involved. Seeing no commissioner having an issue, that is satisfied. All right, for our agenda today, the first 6 cases have all been continued. The 7th case we have is Mr. Beeman's case. We'll get to in a minute. And the 8th case has been settled. And then the OAV 14s that were listed, one from Edgecombe, 2 from Guilford, have all been taken care of. So there are none of those remaining. With the Beeman case is the only thing that we have today, which is 20 Property Tax Commission 0158. And the county is represented by Mr. Borden Parker. Mr. Parker, I think I see you there.
Good
You
afternoon,
may still be
Judge.
muted. Good to
Good
see you. It's
afternoon,
been a long
Judge.
time.
It has. You're looking well.
And well, thank you. Thank you. We've aged a little bit.
a lot over here.
Mr. Parker and I were in law school together, and of course, he's county attorney and has been for down in Goldsboro, Wayne County, and in Greene County, and so it's good to have you with us today. And Mr. Beeman, it's good to have you with us today. This case is here on a motion for summary judgment. And we have a motion from Greene County. I don't see anything in the file from Mr. Beeman, but Mr. Beeman, you'll have a chance to respond. Did you file anything in writing, Mr. Beeman? Can you hear me, Mr. Beeman?
Yes, sir. I said the only thing I filed was with my request for a hearing.
You're kind of breaking up, and I heard you say the only thing you filed was what?
The info or the request. When I filed a request, the only thing I tell about why.
Okay. We lost your video, but it's not necessary you're back. You may have a weak internet connection, so we'll do the best we can. I think you said you hadn't filed a response to the motion, but Mr. Parker, we'll hear from you on the motion that you filed on behalf of Greene County.
Your Honor, we filed the motion, and there's attached to it is an affidavit of Becky Sutton, who is the Greene County Tax Administrator. She is here. There was a letter sent to Mr. Beeman denying a late application for deferred taxes. He had received this property from his mother, who had retained life interest, and he was told what he needed to do, and he did not do it. And so we believe that because he applied in the wrong year, that he is not entitled to any relief. And that all of that is set out in Ms. Sutton's affidavit.
All right. Mr. Beeman, would you like to respond to Mr. Parker's motion? And I assume you have his affidavit. We have copies of it.
Yes. Yes, my response would be that I was hospitalized and incapacitated in bed basically all of 2019 with pancreatitis and other issues, and I didn't even see this mailing. I was in a condition to respond, and as soon as I saw it, I did. The property, like I've had a deed to it since 2005, recorded deed, and the property use has not changed. It's in a flood zone, and I don't see being penalized with going back and paying that property tax when the use has remained the same for the last 60 or 70 years and continues to be the same. I mean, I realize that request was filed late, but it was only because of sickness that I wasn't capable of doing anything about it.
Mr. Pelfrey, Mr. Parker points out in his affidavit that the request has to be filed within the calendar year. Seems like we've had this issue maybe come up before. Can you give us insight as to what the statute allows or does not allow?
Yes, so that's generally correct with all provisions of the property system, that if something is going to happen for a given tax year, or if relief under one of the programs is to be granted for a particular tax year, the application for that relief has to be filed within that year. There is a uniform
Is that
application.
statute, can you point that?
I can. Uniform application
Yeah.
provision is 105-282.1. Starts on page 107 of the Red Machinery Act. And more specifically, if we look at the top of page 109 in that same book, just above subsection B is the last sentence of subsection A1, late application. It says an untimely application for exemption or exclusion approved under this subsection applies only to property taxes levied by the county or municipality in the calendar year in which the untimely application is filed. The an untimely 2020 application could only apply to 2020 taxes. An untimely 2019 application need to be filed in 2019 and would apply to 2019.
All right. So is it your opinion, Mr. Pelfer, that we don't have any discretion in this matter?
If I could have just one moment.
Right.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
While you're looking, questions from commissioners?
Yes,
Guest, Commissioner Guest.
Mr. Chairman, there are provisions here that specify that certain types of exemptions do not require applications to be made. For the record, I'd like for someone to tell us what type of present use valuation discount, that this taxpayer is receiving, and is there anything under, does that fall under General Statute 105-278.1, 105-278.2, or any of the special classes of property excluded from taxation under 105-275, 1516, as reported on page 108 of the Machinery Act under 105-282.1?
Yes, let me say two things. One is to backpedal on the 105-282.1 provision. The present use value program has its own application statute. So that is actually located on page 66 of the Machinery Act, the Red Machinery Act.
All right.
Here again, late application is in section A1, and at the top of page 67, it says an untimely application approved under this subsection applies only to property taxes levied by the county or municipality in the calendar year in which the untimely application is filed. So same or similar language, but there is a specific section
Separate
in
provision.
the present use value program for applications. What I was looking at, Mr. Chairman, just a second ago, 105-302 lists in whose name real property is to be listed. And I mentioned this because Mr. Beeman indicated that the deed for this property had been recorded some time ago and was named the grantee subject to a life estate. But it does say and I'm on page 157, this is 105-302, subsection C, 8. It says a life tenant or tenant for the life of another shall be considered the owner of real property. And it shall be his duty to list the property for taxation, indicating on the abstract that he is a life tenant or tenant for the life of another named it. All of which is to say that under the statute, even though the deed listed Mr. Beeman as the grantee some years ago for property tax ownership purposes, it's the life tenant who was considered the owner. Mr. Beeman would not have been considered the owner for property tax purposes until the end of that life estate.
And that was 2019 when she passed away.
According to the affidavit, yes.
Is that when your mother passed away, Mr. Beeman, 2019?
Yes.
And so that was triggered then, and I guess the county, Mr. Parker, y'all sent Mr. Beeman a notice, which he admits he received, but was incapacitated due to illness, and it didn't get filed to the 2020, as I understand the circumstances. Is that correct?
Yes, on my part, yes.
Mr. Parker, is that your understanding as well?
Yes, sir, that is our understanding.
So from what I'm hearing, we don't have any discretion in this matter. Is that correct? Mr. Parker, do you know of any discretion we have? Or Mr. Pelfrey, do you know any discretion we have?
I've been advising county commissioners for more than 46 years that if they do something like that, they're personally liable.
Unless we have discretion.
Right.
All right. Any further questions, comments? Mr. Chairman, Vice Chairman Wheeler, and then Commissioner Guest.
Mr. Parker, did you got his application in January of 20? I'm sorry. Yeah. January 31, 20. Did you apply that and give it to him for the year 2020?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Guest, Commissioner Guest.
I would ask again for the record, what is this, agriculture, horticulture, forest land? What type of taxation are we talking about?
Mr. Parker, which one was this?
It's agriculture.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
So it comes under the statute we were just looking at, I think.
Yes, sir.
Anything else from either side, Mr. Parker or Mr. Beeman? Either one of y'all have anything else?
No,
Well,
Your
why
Honor.
does it have to go back? Why does it go back for 3 years? I mean, it's been farm use the whole time. Why not just 2019 then instead of going back 3 years?
I understand your question, and the answer is that that's what the statute says, that what happens is. And so, Mr. Pelfrey, that's set out in the statute, and the county has no discretion on that, do they?
That's correct, Mr. Chairman. The statute provides essentially that when a property comes out of the program, then the full amount of taxes are due for that year on the property. And all of the taxes that have been deferred for the prior 3 years are also due.
So we don't have any, the county doesn't have any discretion on that, Mr. Beeman, nor do we. So there's no way that they or us could provide any relief from that statute. All right. Do we need to go into practice session to decide this matter, or are you prepared to vote, commissioners?
I'll make a motion, Mr. Chairman, that we grant the county's motion to dismiss.
All right. I have a motion to grant Greene County's motion to dismiss, grant the motion for summary judgment in this matter, and that there's no discretion for the county or the commission under the statute. Do I have a second to that?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Michaud. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion by Vice Chairman Wheeler, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. And it's unanimous. Mr. Beeman, we're sorry, but we don't have any discretion, and the county doesn't either in this matter. And sometimes those matters come before us. If we had discretion, then it might be a different outcome, or if the county did. So sorry we could not consider any relief for you in this matter. You're muted, so we cannot hear you.
I was, thank you for hearing me anyway. I appreciate it.
Well, thanks, and I hope things go well for you and medically you improve and are able to, and you can file again. I assume, Mr. Parker, he can file again this year for the exemption. Is that correct?
He wouldn't have to, now that he's got it as long as he owns it.
Okay, he filed for last year then. Is that what happened?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. So you're good now. You don't have to do anything else as long as you own it and the use doesn't change, I believe.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay. All right. Thank y'all. And Mr. Parker and Mr. Beeman, y'all welcome to leave. We've got a little bit more of administrative matters to consider, but let's see. Is there anything that we need to do on the record, Mr. Pelfrey?
No, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Well, we'll go ahead and go back into our practice session so that we can see if we got anything else we need to talk about.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Y'all have a good day and be safe.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Okay,
you
boy. You
too.
take care. Hopefully we'll see you before too long. You've got the record now, I guess, for the most years as county attorney since Chip Killian is not county attorney anymore.
I'm afraid so. And I look like it too.
I had 24 years, so you guys almost double me. All right. Well, you take care. Thank you.
Thank you.